to officially invite you all and also to deliver open remarks, I would like to invite Dr. Sepalika Sudasinghe, DG of the NSF, and also she is a senior consultant for the Sri Lanka Institute of Development Administration, SLIDA, the Civil Service College, Sri Lanka. And also, she is a PhD holder in Development Administration, specialized in policy management and master in economics. She is a recipient of Leadership Excellence Award, awarded by Women in Management in partnership with International Finance Corporation, IFC, a member of the World Bank. Also, she is a public servant for more than 30 years. I would like to welcome to the stage Dr. Sepalika Sudasinghe, DG and CEO of the NSF.
Good afternoon, everybody. And it's a great pleasure for me to welcome this distinguished gathering today to celebrate and to mark this year's National Science Day in line with the World Science Day in collaboration with the Ministry of Science and Technology. Professor Gomika Udugamsuriya, the President's Senior Advisor on Science and Technology, the Chairperson, National Science Foundation, Additional Secretary and the senior officials of the Ministry of Science and Technology, senior scientists, heads, vice chancellors, and also chairpersons of state universities, non-state sector universities, and also students of state universities and non-state sector. And also distinguished senior officials, heads of institutions, S&T institutions of the Science and Technology Ministry. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Chairperson, National Science Foundation, let me warmly welcome all of you to this very important forum today with an objective to shed light on what is government vision and their plans in future through the S&T policy and what's our role in this regard. So I'm delighted to see a group of senior scientists and all of you are here with on our invitation, hand in hand, to promote this effort of the government together, because we believe that we together win the race, achieve objectives of us. Actually, it's you and me. At the same time, we have here, I should mention, the group of media personnel, senior officials, who are representing the Objective Science Reporting Program of the National Science Foundation. So I think we have the cross-section of the society for the second phase of this event, because in the morning we worked with the school children, future scientists of this country, in commemorating the World Science Day, National Science Day 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, society and citizens, we face numerous challenges. Therefore, the government is mainly responsible in addressing to these demands, needs, and wants of the society in this type of democratic context. And these societal challenges, from economic crisis to environmental challenges to poverty eradication and towards ensuring the well-being of the society, we should bring the scientific solutions to the society. So that's the responsibility of the government. So that is what you and me, we expect from a government. In economics, it is widely accepted that STI are the key drivers of growth and development and ensuring sustainable development of any country. So, because it strengthened the production process, it strengthened the economy, the GDP, and ultimately that will ensure the well-being of the society. That implies the poverty rates we can bring the poverty rates down. So that's the expectation of any country, the government, and also the request of general publics as you and me. So in this context, government of Sri Lanka also responsible and needs to intervene for a speedy economic recovery. The government interest or the government intervention is basically through policies. It's not organizational, not personal, but public policies. So policies, decisions of the government, according to Thomas R. Dye. So this government also has introduced a strategy, a framework in addressing to the gaps in the country, strengthening the GDP, and to bring desired results in strengthening the well-being of our people. That's about public policies. We are not policy makers. We may facilitate for that, but we are implementers. So that's where the responsibility lies. We have to look into the government decision, and we all have to develop strategies, programs, projects, and strategies in strengthening the government decision. That is what we expect from the professionals in the system. That is what the government expects from you and me as professionals, scientists in this system. We should be strong enough for that. In that sense, all the institutions comes under the X&T Ministry, Science and Technology Ministry, has a role to play. We have to be responsible in line with government vision, the framework. We should be in a position to quickly develop projects, programs, and strategies in line with that in addressing to the speedy economic process. I think that's our responsibility. For that, we have to be ready. So with that intention, in shedding light of our role in meeting the expectation of the government, we have organized this mainly to mark the National Science Day 2024. So let me quickly thank all the senior officials to save time who are here on our request. Thanking all of you. Let me request, let's work together hand in hand. Together we can stand. That's my belief. So with that brief note, let me wind up. Again, let me warmly welcome all of you for today's forum. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam. Next, I'm pleased to introduce the recently appointed chairman of NSF, Professor Saman Seneweera. Professor Seneweera is the chair professor of Agricultural Engineering and Environmental Technology, Faculty of Agriculture, University of Ruhuna. He was also the director and CEO of the National Institute of Fundamental Studies, NIFS, from 2018 to 2021. Professor Seneweera has a PhD in plant physiology from University of Western Sydney, Australia. His research excellence is evidenced by over 250 peer-reviewed publications and an H-index of 48. He has held several academic positions, including at the University of Melbourne, University of Southern Queensland, Tokuhu University in Japan, and University of Illinois in USA. I'm now pleased to invite Professor Saman Seneweera to address the audience.
Okay, good afternoon. It's a beautiful day, and first of all, I want to welcome you all to this gathering, and especially Professor Gomika Udugamasuriya, the President's Science Advisor to the Science Advisor, and the Additional Secretary to the Ministry of Science and Technology, and our Additional Director General, and all other directors, and all distinguished guests, the university academics, and graduate students, and all scientists, and everybody, all dignitaries are really welcome for this occasion. And this is the first appearance of the Professor Gomika Udugamasuriya's official appearance as a science advisor to the president. He was the architect of the new science policy for Sri Lanka, and therefore this is a very special occasion, and I'm very pleased to be part of it. And now, what I want to tell is that today is a Science Day. The day celebrate globally, and we also happen to be here, and this is we over the last 50 years plus we celebrate this day, but we have not seen a significant the role that contribution other countries play in terms scientific contribution that we have not seen, unfortunately. I'm not going to go into details, but so there is a major role to be played in the space of science in this country, I believe, because last 35 years, I left this country in 1990, and immediately after my undergraduate, and I was settled in Australia, and did my PhD, as said, and been working in the system, and going in the ladder, and I was a professor and the program leader and blah, blah, blah. And I was a regular visitor to this country. I was always like involved in the promoting science. And I have taken maybe 20 PhDs into my training programs. Now they are in universities and various institutions around the country, and trained postdocs and so on. But it's just a simple exercise. We could not make a huge impact. After that, that's the reason why. One reason I moved back to Sri Lanka and help. Whatever being sitting in the ground, like a similar thing, like a Professor Gomika Udukumasuriya. So this is the background. And one more thing I want to tell is that during my 35 years visit to Sri Lanka, at least twice or thrice I used to come here, and equally I've been to the India, in the Malaysia, in all countries around. So we have seen major, in terms of economy, science, and big scientific intervention into the system, and we have seen the big growth. That big growth came through the science. So I have seen, witnessed, and unfortunately, we could not capitalize that one. I strongly believe that we need to we need to get science in this system, and we need to invest in science. And if we want to make this major breakthrough, there is definitely we can get maybe $20 plus billion into the a GDP through the projects what we have around. So therefore, I think it's a pretty essential thing to do, and I think we have come to the crunch point, and everybody is pleased, everything is synchronized. It's a past, things happen, but now I think we really want to do that. Some strategies are developed. And I will share one experience, couple of experiences. As I said, when I went to India, it was far below the economically than Sri Lanka. It's a 1990s around. But when I go today to India, India is a different place. They have gone, but they've invest. They built the institute Indian Institute of Technology, and many things. Many things came into the system, and many development came in a space of the science and technology. So that they had that acceleration. I'll take the recent example, China. The Chinese, 10, 15 years back, China was also like us. I remember they were a bit struggling. And they developed a program. They introduced a program called 1,000 Talent Program. So they invited thousands Chinese scientists, top scientists, to come to China, and they asked them to do research and contribute to the economy. The 1,000, they got the top people, and what happened is within a 5 years' time, they recruit all the people, and they had a massive a development in the science area. That's the point of the economic deflection. That time start to change. So now, very recently, maybe another 2-3 years back, they invited another 10,000. There is no discrimination, not Chinese. Anybody can come to China, and the people who have track records, people who have proven to be done work, and you can work, and you can develop, and you can contribute to economy. And what they did was they really backed those people. Their salary was double, their resources was triple, and this is how they did. So there was a massive, what we see. I was 2 weeks back. I was in China. I was working in the labs in the US. I was working in Japan. I was working in Australia, and the technology, we thought, this is the best what we have. But when we walk into Chinese labs and things, it's unbelievable. They have, really, really invest. They're not scared to invest, but they see the return. So that's the world scenario. I want to say the science is the key catalytic component. If you want to propel the economy of this country, it can quickly make big contribution for the development of this thing. So then this is the kind of thing when science, I think, when come to the agriculture science, like I'm very familiar with it, it's very much touch with me, is we have a beautiful environment. Agriculture is we need to redefine. Agriculture is one thing is genetics, called G, and other components are E, called environment. The E and G optimization is the agriculture. We don't, like when we say agriculture, people think, like somebody go with the mammoth and digging the soil, that's not the agriculture. The world agriculture is like that, the optimizing E and G. But the G in terms of genetics, we got things from genes, a set of genes during the Green Revolution. We have a beautiful germplasm. But unfortunately, we have not made a right investment in optimizing our genetic resources. When come to the E, the environment space, like we have the best environment in the world. Like, for example, if we say temperature, our average temperature is, lowest temperature average is annual 10 degrees C. And the highest the temperature is 20 degrees C. This is annual temperature. And I don't think, like anywhere else you can get this range. This is the best for any type of agriculture you can do here. And again, this is any kind of a tourism or any kind of is a facility. That's the best set of environment. Equally, the rainfall. If you take rainfall, the driest place, you get a 750 millimeters of rainfall. When come to the highest, 7,500 mils. This is like 7.5 meters of rainfall in a year. This is a massive amount of water. This is enough to generate the electricity. This is enough to do agriculture. This is enough to sell whatever the electricity for our neighbor, etc. This is that much of resource we have not done. Somehow, I'm not blaming this one. This is the facts and figures, and this is the truth. So this we need to capitalize. And for me, I was in Australia. I was in University of Melbourne. We were in a projects. We had to do agriculture with the 250 mils of water annually. We were successfully we were doing. So we have a triple in the lowest place in this country. There is no place, we have a drought. So those are the things we need to get. Again, when it comes to the light, we have a flat 12 hours close to light period. And the soil is very rich. We have water. What is the environment? This is the E what we want. So we really need the technology that we have not capitalized this one. We have things, different technologies, but it is not really to capitalize that E and G interaction, environment and genetics, and lift our agriculture economy. I'll take, for example, rice. Rice, because we all familiar, we all eat, the rice yield is our 4 tons per hectare. And this is a relatively low. For example, I say in Australia, we have 15 tons per hectare in all the way. It's about 10 tons. And if you go to, I was in China 2 weeks back, it's there I asked the 15 tons. And Japan, 10 tons. There is an average, high yield potential. They have, this rice plant has a biological potential to push that yield. It means we have not pushed that one. So this is a high time. I think we need to get that the whole 2 components together and to make the agriculture economy as bigger as possible. We think right now it's a $7 billion industry, but we see definitely we can push into the $20 billion industry. This is only rice. This technology can adapt to other things, other areas as well. So I mean to say that we have a huge potential for the space of agriculture. I'm not going to go into detail. This is one classic example. I'm not challenging agriculture department or anybody else, but unfortunately, in the past, academics and researchers and politics and all the policymakers did not synchronize. So each work in a different agenda. So we do. But this time, I see clearly is a good synchronization. This is the catalyst for the change and the, whatever that we want to do in the country, especially science. Therefore, I think we can be like we each other. We know most of them we friends, and if we together, I think we can propel, we can push this country. This is I think the last chance. Maybe we are also getting old. So I will take other classic example. The other classic example is the COVID. I take the COVID pandemic. I was here in Sri Lanka, and lucky it's happened in China. Just imagine it happened in Sri Lanka. That disease evolved here, but we don't have any way to tackle because we didn't have anything. We could not at least make attenuated virus to vaccinate our people, because we can't expect somebody to, because we have not that critical investment in science. And because of the DNA and RNA vaccine is the latest technology, and came into the play the whole thing. We were able to get under control. At the same time, look at the internet, because the internet was there, but the Zoom and all other kind of facilities evolved during that time. Even the world went to the hibernation, but still we were able to intact, and we were able to work, and we were able to push the world, the economy, compromise the economy, but still we were able to manage simply because of the technology, science. And the people, I remember the Zoom was a small office, it's a small building. It became is a multi-billion-dollar, the whole investment in the later, within 2 years. This all happened because they had invested in the critical science. So this is what I see. This is a way now we are really in a good position, and we should be able to bring all the components together, and we can make a really, really impact on the country and the society. And I don't want to go into the lot of detail, and we can all fit into this new policy document. When you see the policy document, all the organization, we know just need to little bit move around here and there, but it will nicely fit. But through which, if we adapt that one, I can see the only thing is that we can improve the efficiency, system efficiency. So, and I think that with this long vision, the converting this, contributing to the economy through science is a possible, and I believe we have come to right time. And I'll tell, keep all the differences. Maybe we have a different political ideology, and maybe we have a different thing. It's a complete difference. Now we have a national ideology. It's one ideology to push and help to make this reality. I will stop here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your expertise with us. Next, I would like to invite Dr. Shantasiri, Additional Director of the NSF, to introduce our keynote speaker. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Dr. Sudasinghe, Director General of National Science Foundation, Professor Saman Seneweera, our Chairman, NSF, today our keynote speaker, and S&T Advisor to HE, Dr. Komika, and distinguished invitees, ministry officials, and ladies and gentlemen. It is with great pleasure for me to introduce our keynote speaker today to the audience. As you already declared, he is now the advisor to the President on S&T. Professor Gomika Udigamasuriya obtained his BSc degree in Chemistry Special in 1999 from the University of Colombo and PhD in 2006 from Wayne State University, Michigan, US. Then he completed his postdoc fellowship at the University of Texas, Southwestern Medical Center, Texas, and he joined to the faculty of the same university and continued his research. It was in 2009. Then, afterward, he moved on to the University of Houston, the MD Anderson Medical Center. As you all know, the world's largest medical center. And it was in 2014. And of course, he is also served as the associated professor there in medical chemistry. Professor Udigamasuriya was pioneered and instrumental in conducting mega-scale research on cancer, securing multi-million-dollar projects, funding from leading funding agencies from, I presume, not only from US, but other countries as well, since the cancer is a global relevance and priority. So, his dedication and excellence in research and out-of-box thinking has led a novel method or tool for drug discovery. It was a two-color high-throughput drug discovery technology introduced. In a way, it's a breakthrough over the conventional drug discovery mechanisms, methodologies. In a way, NSF organized one knowledge sharing program on same topic some time back. So it was a breakthrough, and which led him to continue with the cancer research, and I think now he is a world renowned for the cancer research. He has transcended his R&D output beyond benchtop and towards other end, commercialization, which reflects, he claims 8 patents from his research outputs. Then his research publications goes over 40, including publications in world top-ranking journals like Nature Chemistry Biology, and 75 invited speeches all over the world on the subject, recognizing his expertise and knowledge sharing programs. Of course, he has dedicated to inspire the young researchers in the field and played as a role model for the advancement of the field. In recognition to his outstanding and exceptional achievements in research, you may know it is not so easy for any nation to enter into the US National Academy of Inventors. It is very challenging. So he has become a member of US National Inventors, Academy of Inventors. So it indicates in a way his outperformance. And also he has accoladed with awards. It's Faculty Excellence in Research Award, College of Pharmacy, University of Houston. And also Chancellor Award, 15 Scholarship Award. He has won in the university, and also University of Texas Metroplex Science Award. He has won in recognition to the outperformance. So, all that crown he has kept aside and turned to motherland to give a leadership and propel the government's S&T roadmap, so that roadmap won't be a document itself, but need transformation into actions and programs, and at the end of the day, impact on the triple bottom line. It clearly defined in the S&T quantum leap, so that economy, society, and environment. So I'm sure we all together, under his leadership, we will be able to make an impact, and I'm sure to a technologically advanced nation, and in a way, the poor and rich gap among nations called a technological gap. We are lagging behind in the technological gap. I am sure if we work together, we will be able to narrow down the gap, and Sri Lanka, our motherland, will be in the technological advanced nation. With that, with great pleasure and honor, the floor is yours, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that long introduction. I usually don't like to be hearing about me too much, but anyway, thank you so much. Ayubowan and good afternoon to everyone. First of all, I want to really recognize and thank you, NSF, Professor Saman, Seneweera, DG, and you all done a fabulous job, and this is what we really need. We need to take the science forward and utilize it for the betterment of the country, and additional secretaries and all the other officers from Science and Technology Ministry, faculty, researchers, students, postdocs, technicians, and I would call scientists. And thank you for coming here and getting together to do our job. And I have a really, really big news for you all. We have a president and a government that is ready to support science and technology much, much bigger way and better way than we had any time in the past. So this is a really big news, and I don't want to say the title. It is about what we are going to talk. But I want to mention this blue part. That is where I joined in this force. Actually, I have been working in Sri Lanka many projects from the time I left here and even before. So really big projects as well, and many know about me. But for this policy development, I thought I would take few minutes to tell this story, because you need to hear the evidence of how the president and the current government is ready to do this. So, so when the current president came to US in 2023, he visited the Texas Medical Center, which is the largest medical center. And that's where we started discussing about this science and technology policy development. And he was very keen on R&D. And he immediately asked me to start writing. And then we actually formulated a very, very strong committee, which had both scientists in Sri Lanka and also in various other countries who are very distinguished in both sides. And then we got together and developed this science and technology policy. And then during that time, the current president, actually, we launched it in June this year, but even months before, he has been personally involved in building this. And he asked me to present it. So from USA, I was presenting in these developments to him. And we have been talking hours. So nobody else has done that. And then right after, even after the launching, we were tasked to set up framework to how to implement it. So I have been working throughout from USA to launch this. And every time we talk about it, he's asking about what are the implementations and how we are going to take it forward. So I really want to emphasize that. Okay, so I would like to, when I was asked to give the keynote talk, I was asking what I need to say. So I was told to explain the policy. I think this is a good place to really explain it, why we need this, and what are the plans. So science and technology policy is mainly for enriching. It's actually a guideline. I mean, you all know what this policy means. It's a guideline for enriching scientific and technological knowledge, allocating resources, and establishing regulatory framework for R&D. So research and development is R&D. It's always tied to science and technological development. So what is R&D? So it's a long process. So that's fine. So that's okay. So we start from ideas, right? And then it goes through long process to finally it become a realization on commercialized platform. It has to go all the way there. So we have ideas and we define it and then we test it, develop prototypes and then further design it and get it to the commercialization side, brand it and fund it and protect it, patents, and then make it and then go to the launch it. That means utilize the outcome. So until it goes from there to here, it's not complete. So this is the biggest problem we have in Sri Lanka. So we will discuss about it. But why? What is the importance of R&D in a country? Because it produces value-added products and services. So this is very important for the development of a country. So we all know what is value-added products. Since we have a broader audience, just to say, as an example, if we think about tea, we can simply dry it and use it. But how about adding value? Different flavors, colors, and there's a market for that. So that is value-added product. Value-added service, tour guiding. So I can also do that. And if I take tourists to certain places, I also know some places and I can show them. But how about someone doing with a good training and with a good knowledge about those? If I do, the tourism industry will fall. But if the correct people do that, it will thrive. So that's the value-added service. There are so many other examples. So this is an example of top 10 companies in the world. This is the dark line is how much they have spent in R&D, and then the outcome through that. because of the R&D, how much profit they got on the other column. So this is huge. So let's get back to look at our story in Sri Lanka. So many people think we don't have research or we are very poor in research or something. I totally disagree. We have really good, mainly really good researchers. You all are the best examples for that. And we have all around research facilities all around. Of course, there are problems, lack of facilities or whatever, but we have a lot of research facilities. But again and again, I really, really proudly talk about our human potential. All of your potential as researchers. And even under very difficult conditions, you try to do your research, right? I think all of you agree, you try your best. But what are the problems? So the first thing is, exactly like here, this research is scattered. It's not directed. It's all around and isolated. And you all know how much you try to do something. And there's not much support as well, right? And then the second question, biggest problem is this: your research outcome is not tied to the link to the economy. That's the other problem. So you don't have a direction, and your findings are not utilized for the economic development. So this is a management problem. And then there's another problem. If you look at the expenditures from the GDP, this green line shows the percentage of GDP in developed countries. And then the other side is the countries like Sri Lanka. I think you cannot see how much we spend, so I have to show it. So this is how we do. So the percentage expenditures in Sri Lanka for R&D is 0.12% from the GDP. So it's really, really sad situation. So we really need to work on this. So these are the problems. Again, our research is scattered. It's not linked to the economy. And then the support and the expenditures on research is really less. But we have really good human potential, really good, great researchers, right? Okay. Why do we need R&D in Sri Lanka? Of course, for the economic boost, I just mentioned that. And then there are a lot of natural resources we have. Why I make it a really big thing? Because there are a lot of unique features of natural resources. We can have a lower production cost, and it is from existing ecosystem, and renewable and sustainable, and it has inherent properties, consumer preference is there, and less energy intensive, waste reduction, and it's from local economies. So if I define this as the amount of the resources we have to put to make a value-added product from the scratch, if you use natural resources, there's some already built in. So we only need to add little bit more. With this, actually, we can get a lot of profit. So Sri Lanka is a big hub of natural resources, and I'm not going to mention each one, and you all know. So that is one of the biggest things. And then this is, I always say this is the biggest thing, the intelligent human resource we have. I keep saying this. We all are we all have really, really big potential. And unfortunately, WHO also say only 60% of Sri Lankans' potential has been utilized. Really pathetic. So we really need to utilize that. And then we have a lot of ancient heritage, engineering marvels, and maybe some of the things we don't need to reinvent, and we have not looking at it. We just say, we have this big heritage, and that's all. Right? So we really need to go and look for those. And then we have a lot of health conditions, right? Dengue to kidney diseases to so many other local problems. So we really need to address that. And also we have natural disasters too, right? and the R&D will be very helpful to find solutions. And also, we also created our own problems, right? We went into the ecosystems of these animals and create problems. Now we are in a mess of so many different human-animal conflicts, and we need solutions for those. All right. So what is our vision? So our vision is innovation and invention-driven R&D, of course. For what? There are three things. One is the economic prosperity. Second is the human and social well-being. Thirdly, for environmental sustainability. And if you look at these three, this is our whole life. So utilize R&D to achieve the developments on all these three areas. Our principles, I'm not going to talk about everything. So we support innovation and invention. And also, we have our stakeholders, government, private sector, general public, international partners, nothing new. You all know about them. But there's one big component missing here. That is this. So we have these components, but we have not linked them together, each other. So that is one of our major principles, to utilize these the stakeholders and then bring them together. And there are many other principles, and I'm just putting few of those, especially linking the R&D directly to the economic productivity, and then this centralization of the R&D regulation mechanism. I'll talk about this in detail. That is another really big problem in Sri Lanka in R&D sector. And then they apply equity, diversity, and inclusion, and also provide independency for researchers. Researchers need the free thinking and the support to get their best ideas to the world. And then the transparent mechanisms in everything, and also free from unwanted political and bureaucratic interferences. We hope that will not going to happen in the future. So the priority areas. Now, when we were working on this, actually R&D is applicable for every single thing in our life. The immediate picture come to us is labs, chemicals, or whatever, but it's not only that. So we kind of categorize them into 6 different areas, just simply for manage it easily. So the agriculture, fisheries, livestock, food security and safety on one group, and then the health, education and science on one group, and then the technological side, IT, AI, energy, engineering, communication, maritime, transport and other technical areas. And then the environment, air, land, water, environment, mineral, all those in one section. And this is one of the sections, I wouldn't say not existed, but happened very less. The national security, economy, geopolitics, and public and foreign affairs, policy development based research. So those has to be done based on research, data driven. So this is, we call this group as high sensitive research. So that's another main thing we are going to implement. And then the other one, which is also, I always say, very important for human and social development, the art, human development, history, culture, heritage, and all those areas. So this contain almost everything related to R&D. So, and also, again and again, we have been doing this isolated way. So as I mentioned, our principle is to combine, connect, collaborate among various different levels. Now I'm giving a very simple example of doing research on this biodiverse fauna and flora, natural products, can lead to health and pharmaceutical industry, supplement and nutraceuticals, food industry, cosmetics, agriculture, Ayurvedic, the tourism industry, so many different areas. So we don't see this way when we do research. So these are the new cultures we are going to bring in, collaboration, and then achieve the economic prosperity. Okay, so let's talk about the stakeholders of the science technology policy. But before that, I would like to tell the story from US. I'm telling this from US, but this is the story of all the developed countries. So, in US, the government first decide what are the research needed for the country, for the short term, mid term, and long term. And there are 438 institutes. I'm showing only one of them that are involved, National Institute of Health. And so the government and these institutes together decide and make the policies for the future of the country. So they prioritize research needed for the country. And then those are the only areas that they fund, because they don't want to throw money for nothing, right? So they decide first what to do and then fund those research through these institutes. And then, so I was on those upper areas, and also I'm a normal faculty in university. So then we also get that funding, and then we implement that research. Now, I always say that my graduate students think, when they think about their project, it's my idea. Of course, it's my idea, and then his or her project. So it's our something between two of us. No, it's actually linked to the national economy. Otherwise, I wouldn't get funding, as I mentioned. So they get the research done from everywhere. But the key point is that is important for the country, and it is decided first. So that's one of the big things lacking here. So, and then when those research is successful, there are high-tech incubator facilities or high-tech research centers. They further de-risk that initial findings. This is going from basic research to translational and applied. So as the de-risking happening, the private sector comes in and buy that research and take it to all the way to the completion. So this cycle is the key. And that is what we were lacking in Sri Lanka. Although you all tried your best to do your research as individual or maybe as an institute, there's no direction, and there was the outcome was not taken further. So we really need to complete this cycle. So in our policy, we as I mentioned, again, the components for this chain we all also have, right? We have the government, we have private sector, we know international partners are there, general public is there, a lot of resources are there, right? But the biggest thing we were lacking was this, the combination between each of those. And then with these stakeholders or resources, we need to start the cycle. So the way we are proposing is we need to bring this whole R&D into one central administration. Otherwise, this is totally dispersed. So we are proposing a centralized administrative system, an institute, and then a high-powered committee to handle everything. And then centralizing things too much also not a good idea. And then we need to disperse it further down to the ground as well. I'll explain that mechanism. And then that central control will decide the research needed for the country, and then utilize the funding to get this research done again from all these existing universities, research centers, and getting you all activated. And then it can be further enhanced with high-tech, some of the high-tech institutes if needed. If not, and then the private sector can jump in and take it forward. And I forgot to mention, the private sector can join this process from the beginning as well, and then the government can also go all the way to the finish, and it happened in US very well. So I was just saying a general idea, because the private sector is not ready to take risks at the beginning. That is really understandable. So that's where the government need to fulfill that. support initial infrastructure, planning, and then take the risk, and then allow this human potential to show their colors, and then the private sector will come and take it forward. So this is again a flow chart. So we have national investments, and then go through the R&D, and then we find novel things and prototype developments. And I want to highlight the next step, the intellectual property or patents. That is another really, really important area which we really need to develop in Sri Lanka. We really need to support all these researchers from the law side, helping acquiring patents and this IP protection, because we are working in this global village. We have to have really protected our ideas, prototypes, and the developments. And then the final product services, and then go to the commercialization. So initially, the government will do a lot of things, and then the private sector starts joining in. So this is kind of the big picture. So the funders, the government, of course, and then the private sector can do that. The investors, entrepreneurs, manufacturers, industrialists, and then the international partners. We have not harnessed that. I know you all individually try your best to get individual grants, and that's all. No support. But we will develop that through a lot of other mechanisms to attract international grants and support. And then, as I mentioned, we have the natural resources and also the human potential. I keep telling this. Okay, how do we get the knowledge from the outside world? We have identified several mechanisms. One of them is from the internationally trained Sri Lankan scientists who live in other countries also. We are proposing actually some practical plans. So our expats in other countries can do 3 mechanisms. When they are there, we have Zoom type techniques now. They can even teach in universities or support. And then second mechanism, when they come to Sri Lanka, they can spend few days or do some workshops or help places with their expertise. And then third is the most important. This is we call the reverse brain drain. We need to offer them good packages. And as mentioned, China and India did this really well. And when we were going to US, it's one way. It's all going there. But from early 2000s to last decade or two, China and India attracted their PhD trainees from US almost totally, giving real good packages. And you see the difference, right? In 90s, 2000s, where was India and China? Now where they are today. This is really, really big factor. So we really need to get to work that. So we are planning those, how to bring the knowledge from the outside. And there are other mechanisms, intergovernmental collaborations. And then we organize conferences and all those things. Those are normal things you all know. Okay. How does the government finding funds? So as I mentioned, government and private sector go through this process. There are various mechanisms coming from government. Of course, the government budget, and then intergovernmental agreements, international funding, aids, donations, bonds, and then the private sector joining, investors, entrepreneurs, manufacturers, industrialists. And then these are the places where these can happen. We need to bring the school system as well, universities, technical colleges, the centralized institute we are proposing, and then the research centers, all this. We can all say all these things, but we need to be practical. Sri Lanka is not in a very good shape economically right now. So we have identified 4 different mechanisms that the government, we don't need to trouble too much of the government budget, but of course it will increase on the science and technology area. But we can work on the other mechanisms to secure funding. like this international funding, aids, donations, and then also issue special types of bonds, and also encourage investors. Actually, I'm very happy to say that. So when we were launching this R&D policy, so actually after doing that, there were a lot of investors spoken to me, and there were a lot of huge interest boosted, because they simply say, they repeatedly told me, they thought the research is something that university professors do. Just white coat fellows do something in their universities and that's all. We have nothing to do. But when we show that these value-added products are coming from R&D, is the best place for them to come and invest. And they are really, really happy to involve in this process. There are so many investors aligned now coming forward. So if we align them in proper way, we can get a lot of things done. And then self-sustainable institutes, and there are many other ideas. Okay, so I will go through some description about the implementation mechanism, because this is where we got stuck. And I wouldn't say we are the first ever best policy developed. There are so many policies developed in Sri Lanka. Very nice, beautiful write-ups, but nothing happened on the ground. That is another really big problem. So we need to be practical. So in that practicality, I already told that. So one of the biggest things happened was these nice policies were written, but they were given to somewhere that politically not aligned with that. So it get dropped there, and implementation was not completed. But as I said, this policy was stepwise followed by the current president and the government. So we are very keen to really get into the action. So I explained this whole cycle, but I want to give some attention on this area. How do we start? So as I mentioned, just don't worry about the exact name. So we need to have a centralized institute. We call it this way at this point. And also this doesn't mean we are going to totally remove all the current institutes and bulldoze them and then bring this in from the beginning. No, that's not the idea. So don't get it wrong. So this is how it should happen. We are actually putting together plans to how to do this practically using existing resources. And then we have this high-powered national committee. So how do we do? There are two sections. One is, actually this is mainly for not to do research, this is to manage research. And then, but I remember I talk about this high sensitive research area, which has to be done very internally. I think you all know Pentagon type places in US, right? The national security research, policy research, so those happening there. So we would like to have that under this institute as an arm. That's real research happening place. And then this is the most important part. The research management divisions under this. So what are these? So this is where, I told you we have to centralize this. But this is the place that it got decentralization, which is going to the ground level. How? So there we are going to establish research management divisions for each of the research involved sections, basically each of these ministries. So, and then these divisions link to the outside ministries or research areas. For example, let's let this RMD1 is the agriculture area. So it is now this division is going to link with the agriculture ministry. And there are so many research institutes under the agriculture ministry. So the job of this RMD1 is to go into the outside, go through connect with the agriculture ministry, discuss with the research centers, researchers, and even go to the ground level, talk to farmers, and basically find out what are the needs, what are the problems, what are the needs in the agriculture area in Sri Lanka that needs research, R&D. And then that is being brought to the table inside this institute. So the agriculture, IT, engineering, health, art and culture, all these come to one table through these divisions. And then within that, we're going to prioritize what are the needs for the country. And those are the only things we're going to fund, because we don't want to currently, the funding is just thrown away for each of those ministries, and there's no research culture even set up, no ethical or proper international guidelines are followed, right? So there are a lot of disperse. But we are going to centralize it, and actually from that, I forgot to mention, we develop all the policies, work under international guidelines and ethical, all how to do research in a proper way. And that will happen everywhere under those conditions. And then we have all the information about what country needs on all different areas. And as I mentioned, in USA, this happens over 438 independent institutes, but we don't need to jump into really big. We can expand this over the time, but let's start from this type of a practical mechanism that supports what we want to do. So we identify research priorities and then fund them. And then we utilize existing all the universities, research centers, and direct them to what we need to do. Remember, the prioritization means it's always ties to the economy. These are the things we need to impact our economy. So the broader ideas is that high-powered committees for policy and regulation, and then we do the centralized administration, that is feed from the economic focus and R&D needs of the country, and then we get the research done on the ground level. Now, one other beautiful thing setting up this kind of mechanism is, so you all, most of the researchers here, you all on this performing research in those corners, right? But you don't know where to go when you have problems, right? Now this way you know where to go all the way to solve your problems. And from the top also know what is happening in the ground level. It's all linked. So this is the thing that I keep saying. We miss this linkages, collaborations. Okay, so this high-powered committee, we are proposing to have all these representatives and a very high-power committee from experts to, and then intellectual property lawyers and the university representatives, institute, private sector, and also we would like to have some successful businessmen also, economists, and the secretaries from these important ministries. So this is going to be the central high-powered place that decide the direction of our R&D. And then how do we distribute funding? And we are proposing various different grant mechanisms. Normal research grants for researchers with basic research grants and high impact, high reward type and high priority type grants. And then program grants, center grants, individual research training grants, and undergraduate grants. And then we are bringing in the school sector also into this. That is very, very important. School level grants for teachers, students, and also arranging the workshops, seminars, everything. And also very importantly, we are proposing to have public research grants. And these small business innovation research grants, and also very specifically this public research grant award, which is specifically meaning to support these innovations coming from here and there. We see them in news. And of course, we need to validate the scientific background, and if that is correct, we need to support those. And now these innovators get lost. So I know NSF has most of these funding mechanisms already, and we are trying to put together in a proper way, including some other grant mechanisms. So how do we do that? Very briefly, prioritize first, and then we ask the public to come and submit their applications after releasing the RFA, request for applications in these high prioritized areas. through these RMDs, and then the applicants can send their applications, which will be reviewed in a very thorough way. And I have been working on this over decades in the US system. And 2 steps: scientific merit, look at the significance, innovation, the actual proposal, facilities, investors, qualifications, and all. That's scientific. And then it goes to the administrative level decision making to again prioritize what do we exactly need, and then continue and go to the success. If I take my last few minutes, how we are going to do this in exact practical way. So first, I said the R&D expenditure is really low. So we are going to increase, and we need to be again practical. We have to do stepwise. So especially considering where Sri Lanka is right now, the government has to pay attention to the very simple basic things like health, education, all those things, but at the same time increase the R&D funding over the time. So we first aim to get into these countries like parallel to our economy, and get to like about 1% or so at least, and then over the time we can go to the big milestone. And then secondly, this is very important when in terms of practicality. So we have these short-term, mid-term, and long-term projects planned. Short-term is actually we are really not trying to spend money on the research. How much research we have done in Sri Lanka, that's been not utilized for the economy. So when we do that, there are a lot of researches available to commercialize. So we have identified over the last few months so many projects, areas, and I think you may have seen in the news. So we already started the Eppavala phosphate production project, which has been left for decades, not without utilizing the really beautiful science done by Professor Oliver Ilya-Peruma and some other scientists. So there are so many other things. So we are going to push them over the line and utilize and link to the economy immediately. That's the short-term goal. And then there are so many other research going on. We are going to support, identify, prioritize, and then we start some new mega projects. Those are kind of long-term plans. So this is the practical plan. So what do we look from this at the end? As I mentioned, the first thing is the economic prosperity, social well-being, and then the environmental sustainability. So if you think this is all what we need, and then we have all this potential natural resources, and let's get together and join this program and give you a help and join with this. One of the biggest things we expect is the administration will come like this, but you all need to involve actively. So my fellow researchers and the public, please join in this effort and do your part. And you have a way to do this. Unlike before, you have the guideline, you know what you do is going to take forward and will be helpful for developing Sri Lanka. So thank you so much for listening to me, and let's develop our motherland. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Udugama Surya. It is very encouraging to hear the government's plans in promoting R&D. Next, we have the Additional Secretary, Development and Innovation, Ministry of Science and Technology, Mr. K.R. Uduavala. Mr. Uduavala has a bachelor's degree in physics from the University of Peradeniya and master's in organizational leadership from Monash University, Australia. He is a special grade officer of the Sri Lanka Administrative Service and has served as the Secretary, State Ministry of Production, Supply and Registration of Pharmaceuticals, and several other ministries. Let me now invite Mr. K.R. Uduawala to address the audience and share his thoughts.
Okay, thank you for the introduction. And good afternoon and good day for everybody. Let me start. I warmly welcome Professor Gomika Udugamasuriya for Sri Lanka and supporting us in science and technology sector. And we like to receive you as the advisor to the President. So we are lucky to have you here in Sri Lanka to serve the motherland, as you said. And the chairman on NSF and DG NSF and other distinguished guests and the universities and all of the ministry officials and other institutes. So it's a new ministry, and it was, I think, as you all know, it was a unit in the Ministry of Education. Whereas there was recognized as a ministry in early, I think, in 2015. So after that, you can imagine the recognition given to the science and technology by putting us in a unit. So when I came back in the science and technology after my university education, I was an assistant lecturer in the University of Peradeniya, and I see so many of my batchmates are here also as in different levels now. So when I come here, I saw this unit cannot function, the so huge task. So we are lucky that this government has recognized the task and put it in a level of a ministry. So we must now act as the ministry, and we have given the very challenging task in this regard. So I think we can do this, and we have a very good minister, a new minister, Professor Krishanta Abesena, and also he has now very good staff as well, the private staff. So we have a new vision to contribution to the economic development, and as I said, Professor Gomika Udugamasuriya has recognized by the President as the advisor to science and technology. And we must develop a new framework for this, as he explained. So that is what I speak after his speech. So, I think you may have heard of this before, but still this is the best forum for us as your new appointment comes to address the gathering and see the vision. I think we will actually visit each institute separately, and we will make it the success. And also we have to say that we have two new institutions with us, that is SLSI, Sri Lanka Standard Institution, and ITI. And also the Vidata unit. I think all have heard of Vidata. It is the spread all over the country, and now it was under the Ministry of Industries. Now we can give this challenging message to, and we can get their help out of for the implementation. Now as Professor Udugamasuriya said, the challenging part is the implementation. What we didn't have the implementation, because we had all these things where we had the institutions, researchers, everybody is there. So first, when I was at the higher education, we established, not me, but still there was a unit called UBL, University Business Linkage. So in every 17 universities. And those are the units that you spoke about, the commercialization process. So we spoke with them, and the IBL, Industrial Business Linkage, there are separate units, as you said, they're scattered all over the ministries and departments and research institutes. So we had several discussions, as you know, some of them have participated in that. And we had about 3-4 discussions, and unofficially we had several discussions, and officially we had 3 discussions. And we have formed to address this issue. We told that we named that as the steering committee. So that doesn't sound as much. So as Professor Udugamasuri said, it is much more higher than the attention comes from the top of the executive, that is the president. So I think that is the best mechanism, and also the collaboration with all these research institutes and those mechanisms. So some of them we didn't think of this level. So anyway, we have started, as the ministry, we have started a journey, so we can link all these things together. So I urge you to support this as the scientist and also the economic development of the country, because this economy has to develop from this science and technology, whereas we haven't not yet established now. Okay, thank you very much for the attention, and thank for the celebration of this World Science Day. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next, to propose vote of thanks, I would like to invite Mr. Janaka Karunasena, Head of the Media and Event Management Division of the NSF.
Thank you, Pujita. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm glad to be standing here to express my vote of thanks at the end of this important event. On behalf of the National Science Foundation, first of all, I would like to thank, and I would like to extend my special thanks to Mr. Rohitha Uduawala, Additional Secretary, Development and Innovation, Ministry of Science and Technology, for his valuable guidance in designing this event and for participating in this event, representing the ministry. Thank you, sir, for being with us. I wish to extend my heartfelt and sincere gratitude to our special guest, keynote speaker, Senior Advisor of Science and Technology to His Excellency the President of Sri Lanka, Professor Gomika Udugamasuriya, for delivering the keynote speech at our National Science Day 2024 celebrations. And we are so grateful to you for sharing your expertise with us, and your thoughts have really inspired us well. And thank you very much, sir. I'm grateful to the chairman of the National Science Foundation, Professor Saman Seneweera, newly appointed chairman, and to the Director General, Dr. Sepalika Sudasinghe, for your prestigious guidance, directives, and encouragement continuously given to us to make this event a success. Thank you, sir. Thank you, madam. And my sincere thanks goes to the ministry officials for their valuable support provided to us in organizing this event. My big thanks go to all the participants from various organizations. Today, this audience is represented by organizations under the Ministry of Science and Technology, government universities, then non-state sector higher educational institutes, vocational training institutes, and especially the NSF Objective Science Reporting Program. Thank you to you all for being here. And my special thanks goes to the media personnel from various media organizations for representing print and electronic media for covering this event. I want to thank the Dean, Medical Faculty, University of Colombo, Professor Vajra Disanayaka, for providing this mini auditorium and other facilities to organize this event successfully. And also I want to thank to the event organizer, Mr. Devaka, who supported us very well, providing the required things in time. I'd be failing in my duty if I did not thank the NSF staff who provided tremendous support to the media and event management division, that is my division, to organize this National Science Day successfully. Special thank goes to IT unit, NSF, because they arranged the live stream via YouTube. Thank you. And my big thanks go to the two compeers, Dr. Inoka Sandanayak and Mr. Pujit Revasa. Thank you to both of you. And for sure, this will be a memorable day for all of us. I would like to end by thanking all of you one last time. Thank you.
So with that, we have come to the end of this valuable session. And before we leave, I think we have most of the policymakers here. So let's speed up our work and join hands together, all the institutions and all the S&T stakeholders. As our keynote speaker mentioned, we can drive this economy through research and development towards a knowledge-driven, developed nation.
Thank you all for joining us. Let's continue to collaborate in achieving the sustainable development through S&T innovations. We'd like to invite you for refreshments and networking. Have a good day.